I know.
What, not responsible for any warranties implied or inferred due to Skype complications? Okay. In case you're wondering why the title is Super Bowl, because I can't spell, and in the notes I decided to misspell super, and that's appropriate because the NFL has no trademark licenses or controls of the term Super Bowl. I can use the term Super Bowl without any written or implied oral consent. So, whatever. Since we were on that, do we want to start with the Super Bowl funness or the actual tech stuff?
Let's start with the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl goodness? Okay. Poor Christina.
I am going to be very silent as I did not watch the Super Bowl.
See, he's touched it ahead. He's un-American. Just like Christina. It's like,
Watch what happens. Is it a Jack Jackson thing?
No.
Damn, it's not more abortion then.
Well, Christina swung the wrong words to the national anthem, which she did do. And you know what's so bad about this is 10 years ago, before we had a Twitter, I guarantee you it wouldn't have been a big deal. Because the majority of people realized that she sung the wrong words because their tweets started going nuts. Because people were tweeting about, is it just me, or are y'all for like the next 45 minutes?
They retweet,
Yeah, the same thing. The Christina Aguilera remix with lyrics sold separately was like retweeted, I think, about 12 to 50 times. I am ashamed to admit I feel un-American. I feel like there's something wrong with me because I actually know the words to the national anthem. I do know them. But I was so annoyed when the national anthem was going on, I didn't actually notice that she missung it. Because I was still annoyed about them having people sing for another song that isn't the national anthem. And then no, it's like you'd be surprised how many Americans think Purple Mountain's Majesty is actually the national anthem, and they had Miss Little Glee come out there and sing. Like they had everybody stand up. Please stand. It's like it's like they're fixing to do the national anthem. They just didn't say it. And she comes out there singing Purple Mountains. And they're like zooming on all the teams and everybody, and they're all like, "What? This isn't the national anthem. What the hell is this?" It's like,
the beautiful. They sing at their wrestle matches.
Yeah, but that's not the national anthem. America the Beautiful is not the national anthem.
That's not what the people think.
Star Spangled is the national anthem.
That is now. It was originally a poem.
Well, and to be honest, Star Spangled Banner has 3 other verses that are not the national anthem. It's just the first stanza of the verse that's the national anthem.
Can you see stuff,
Yeah. It's like, but anyway, she did missing it. And, the only reason this is even technically relevant is because 10, 20 years ago, before Twitter, nobody would have noticed. Everybody would have been like, huh? But now, it's like those of you who didn't notice, rewind your live TV. It's like, oh shit, she did! It's like, and everybody who did notice, tweet, she did it wrong, tweet, she did it wrong, tweet, she did it wrong. It's like, so, I want to know how long it took her publicist to realize, oh shit.
There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Oh, bullshit. She's got some groveling to do. I'm sure it's already blowing over. I'm sure. But it was... I'm glad other people were paying attention. I'm ashamed I didn't notice initially. As soon as I rewound, I'm like, no, she didn't. And I rewound it to prove it. And I'm like, oh, shit, she did.
It's like the tabloids, man.
Oh... Do we want to go into actual... Okay, I should be turning this bottle around so no logo's facing forward while I'm drinking my non-brand.
Yeah. Here's my non-brand water bottle that's not a soda.
Ah, yes. Okay, do we want to move into the rest of the commercials? Or do we want to go back into the genuine tech stuff? I'm fine either way. Yeah, we should probably just get the Super Bowl shit out of the way. Leo, you were saying, like, the most fucked up commercial? For a person who says he didn't watch the Super Bowl, but yet he knows what the most fucked up commercial is?
The
Well, it showed up on Reddit, YouTube, etc. So, I'm like, wow, really? Plus, wasn't Google planning on buying Groupon at one point?
I don't know on that. He's talking about the one where they're like basically doing a PSA announcement, basically feed the children, and they go, "Of course, I have my Thai food." That's like it's the guy from Leverage and shit.
No. They're talking about the basic tone of the commercial is, "Here is Tibet. These people are under political impression, but they sure do make a fine fish curry.
Yeah.
So buy our product."
Pretty much, yeah.
I was like, what?
Oh, that one too? That one was bad too. That's like, I still think, did you watch the actual Super Bowl, Commodore? Nope.
I haven't watched in years.
You haven't watched Super Bowl in years? I haven't watched it in years. I decided to watch this one. Come on, man. It was going to be a 1984 ad. For that alone, you should watch it.
You just watch on YouTube.
No! There was a better one. The one that's on YouTube isn't that one. It's the other one. Well, at least that one's not on YouTube.
The Obama one?
There's one where like they're all in the white suits.
Yeah, they put that on YouTube.
They put that on YouTube. They took it down. They put it back up. Okay, good.
There's one with Half-Life too. Remember that one? The one with the 1984 and Half-Life? Well, that wasn't Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That was a derivative of the Super Bowl one.
Yeah, I have to say, I am glad somebody is finally calling Apple what they are. 1984. Because that's what they are.
Big Brother. Yeah.
Apple's plan to protect everybody from Big Brother is to become Big Brother. I'm so glad that people are calling them on it. Everybody, this should be your advertising campaign for going against Apple. Just point out how they're Big Brother. It's hard to ignore. It really is. Even an diehard Apple fanboy has a hard time ignoring it. They just try and explain to you why Big Brother is a good thing and Big Brother will help you if you trust Big Brother. Because Big Brother's good, you know. It's not at all like 1984's Big Brother. That was bad. That was IBM. This is good. It's Apple.
Anyway, I did a video that stopped for talking about cars. You know how E-Maker always did the car analogy? And compared it to cars. It's not like that. It's like comparing it to China. Apple is China. They're the ones that are watching us. They're the ones that prevent us wanting to do the stuff that we want. They're the ones that control everything. Does that sound like Apple or China or both?
To be honest, it also sounds the Department of Homeland Security. Oops! Oops! Oopsie, I didn't mean to say that. I am sorry, terrorist watch list. I'm so sorry. I grovel before thee. I'm sorry I believe in freedom of speech. I'm sorry I believe in civil liberties. I am sorry. I should know better. I should know these things are un-American. I apologize. If you're outside the U.S., you don't get that joke. If you're inside the U.S., you're laughing, unfortunately. Unfortunately.
Well, what if you're inside the U.S. and don't read a history book?
Oh, you're just lost then. I'm sorry, you're just lost. Speaking of the Xoom, trying to get into something seriously, trying desperately, but failing miserably. What do we think? I like the Xoom, I like the device. If this freaking leaked Best Buy ad is true, they've already fucked up the Xoom. And that is essentially it's going to be shipped.
You're talking about lockdown wireless?
Yeah, you can't use the Wi-Fi unless you buy a Verizon contract. I'm like, what? But I wouldn't mind that if it was like subsidized for $200 or $300, but that's at the $800 price. I like that. That's wrong. $800, I should be able to do whatever the hell I want with the damn thing.
Yeah. Well, I suppose you could run Metro, use Metro PCS as it and hack it like people have done to the Droid X.
But you have to buy the Verizon service to even be able to. It's like shipped locked unless you have the Verizon service, which means
it comes with a contract.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
That's worse than iOS. If that's what they're doing. to say that, but that is true. If that is what they're doing, that is worse than iOS.
But the OS isn't the problem, it's the OS devices.
Well, the problem with iOS is Apple's doing shit like this, but now we have Verizon doing shit. Verizon's getting that special place in hell. It's like what's the V circle of hell for the telecoms that fuck the end user?
The V circle or the 9 circle?
We have to figure out which circle the telecoms belong in. That's a good.
But whatever. How many circles there are in hell? I think that would be the one right after that, and the one right after that would be right before where Apple should go.
Yeah, but Verizon belongs lower in that pit. Now, this is unconfirmed. We don't know this for a fact yet, but I was afraid of this. I was desperately afraid of this, and it's looking like it might actually be the case, which is gonna no. Android could kick iOS's butt, but of course, telecoms.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Why are they treating this like a phone? It is not a phone, and that sort of seemed like the point behind Honeycomb, to make the tablet OS not just a giant phone.
Because the telecoms don't want you to realize you can do without a phone. They have this logic that we are the end all, and all roads must lead to cell phone minutes, despite the fact that nobody really needs them anymore.
Yeah, but surely
Tiny buddy, they gonna
get
wise
this
up.
stuff into the hands of somebody who's not going to do that.
Well, and that's what's...
It's like I am tying this back to Google officially. The Google fanboy is tying this back to Google. Google, get...
Oh my god, we have the Google fanboy yelling at Google. That's how much of a fuck up this is! The Google fanboy is angry at Google. Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. How much of a fuck up do you have to do with Honeycomb to get a Google fanboy mad at Google?
It is...
We found it.
It is... I like the idea behind Honeycomb, and thankfully, since it isn't iOS, you're not stuck with it on a platform that you may not like. But this is a very bad platform, and it is not a good choice for Google to use as their premier.
No, and several people have asked me if I was going to buy a Xoom.
When they think of Honeycomb.
Several people have asked me if I was going to buy a Xoom. Based on the and my answer to that has been, based on the demo I've seen from Google, yes. Depending on how much it costs and what contracts I have to sign with it, possibly no. Because that's the real deal breaker. And this, I'm not buying a Xoom. Nope, not buying a Xoom. If this is the only way I can get a Xoom, not buying a Xoom. I'm looking at an Atom 2 or anything other than a Xoom. I officially have.
CDMA device is pretty much useless because you can't activate it.
Yeah, well, no, that's the thing. It's CDMA in the States is database locked, which means you're pretty much going to be stuck with Verizon and Verizon only, and basically. Unless you hack it, but then how do you activate it on another CDMA carrier? Here's the problem in the States. I take my open device to another carrier, and they're like, well, that isn't in our database, and we don't have authority to add it. So you have to buy a device from us.
You can just buy the cheapo CDMA, from like Metro PCS or whatever. But most people aren't going to do that.
Well, and that's only an option in a few places. That's not a universal option. So, unfortunately, Verizon has killed the Xoom. Boy, that didn't last long, did it? Not even a month, It's not even launched yet. Not even a month, not even launched yet, and the Xoom is already dead. May it rest in pieces, It's like...
You want to know what else is bad about this?
Sure, go ahead.
What else is really bad about this is that when you're comparing the Xoom to the iPad looks cheap, and that was one of the first things that people were talking about with the iPad or whatever. It's too expensive for just a giant phone. And
Well, I wasn't going to go into that yet
because... It's a strange world where Apple is the lower price device.
It's not just that, but yeah, there's that too. You're right. At the $800 price tag, Apple is the cheap device. That's a scary world. Apple cheap?
Well, they were cheap back in the days when the IBM PCs.
Oh. No, but it's like, yeah, you're right. There's that. But granted, it's a Xoom, and we don't know for sure how unlevel the playing field is until the iPad 2 comes out. But the Xoom overall is a great device. Honeycomb overall a great OS, but they've just torpedoed it. If it was anyone other than Google's OS, I would accuse Verizon of trying to keep Honeycomb from selling so that they can sell iPads and iOS devices, but they are big Android people, and Google is not someone to fuck with, so this is clearly done with Google's blessing, and this is just one of those... way to kill the platform, guys. Way to kill the flagship device. Say it again?
Maybe they didn't buy Google's back without them knowing.
Well, okay, where's the Google CEO getting up going, you know what, we've tried working with, we've tried working with the telecom industry, but it's very clear they don't get Android, so we're going to go back to making flagship products. Where is that reaction out of Google? Because if anything would trigger it, it'd be something like this, if that's really done entirely behind Google's back, but Google's not giving that reaction. They're not reacting that way, which means it's clearly done with their consent. They don't give a shit that the platform's being killed, and they don't give a shit that the end user's getting shafted. So
it's part of what's got me upset.
Yeah, it's just there's no indignant from Google, and you can't call this anything other than a shaft for the end user, because that's ridiculous. It's like, that's an Apple-ish thing to do. The hardware perfectly supports it, but we're going to be shipping it with a firmware restriction unless you give us more money. Yes. Bullshit. So, ding dong, the Xoom is dead. May it rest in peace. On the other note, there's no Phone 7 tablets in the wind, but Dell says they're going to be having a Windows 7 tablet coming out later this year, aimed at what it calls enterprise customers. Am I the only one who's trying not to laugh when they hear this?
Okay.
Don't make enterprise machines. Enterprise a laptop, what?
Well, what they're saying is businesses want 7, and that may be true on laptops and desktops. It's not true on servers, and on these tablet devices, honestly, Windows 7 is not the right OS for it. It isn't. I mean, look at the pictures. There's clearly a start menu there on a tablet device. I don't care how cheap it is. That is not the right UI for a tablet device. And let me ask you this. Enterprise business people. Let's all pretend we're enterprise business people. We wear suits. We do everything in exchange, yada, 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 and so forth.
Like IBM.
Yeah, let's pretend we're IBM people. Okay. Okay, we have our new tablet devices that we're buying for all our corporate people. Do we want to buy something where they have to go through a desktop UI on a tablet device and use the desktop OS on an underpowered tablet device? Or do we want to pay a tablet device with a UI optimized for touch and gestures and so on and so forth with an application that allows them to interface with the service in a way that's designed for that UI? Which do we want to buy? Which do we want to invest tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars in? Yeah, it's like, even businesses, even enterprise people, I don't see them buying Phone 7 I would see, but Windows 7 tablets? No!
I think the Emerging Network Remix or whatever the Unity thing would be way better UI choice. tablets and the Windows 7 thing.
Okay. That's what you just sounded like there, man.
Well, I think the Road to Unity invasion and like 11.04 that's not even released yet would be a better UI choice than Windows 7 UI.
And that's not a particularly good UI for that form factor. But you're right, it'd be better.
Dark menu.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Leo?
Man, for me, Commodore sounds like a ham radio right now.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. And you know what's so stupid? He made us wait 10 minutes while he went and fixed his hair. And his camera is so low quality, he looks pixelated as all hell. He had to go fix his hair. You look like you're on Cops right now, man.
No, it's not the biggest issue right now, I don't think. Right now, when I'm trying to talk, there is like a 5-second delay between when I talk and when it shows up on your side of the computer.
I was wondering why you looked like you were in a Japanese movie. I will kill you. I will kill you now. It's like so. You know what this is? You know what's so sad about this? This has turned this back into an iOS-only show in the tablet world. Honeycomb has been killed by Verizon and Google Apathy. Microsoft doesn't even have a player. WebOS hasn't announced anything yet. That may change later this week. We don't know. Because there's supposedly that HP announcement later this week. But right now, it's another 6 months of iOS, unabated, no competition. That's just sad.
I love the carriers. You know, they just want to hold on to their business model.
Their business model is broken. You know, it's...
It works for them, and they don't want to get rid of it.
Well, I got news for them. There's these things like Light Squared that are going to be offering direct to distributor bandwidth and other projects like that going on, where there's networks being built right now in the United States where the goal is to completely and totally bypass the phone companies, to allow companies to give their product directly to the end user, no intermediary like a Verizon or an AT&T or a Sprint in between to gum up the works. 5 years from now, the phone company's business model's dead. They can either be embracing that future or they can become obsolete by the end of the decade. That is their choice. They can drag their feet and become obsolete, or they can embrace that the world has changed. We are now in the 21st century. I'm sorry, it's not 1980 anymore. It's the 21st century. Get used to it.
If they apply the same business model like the car companies apply, nobody would buy cars or lease them. We rent them. We wouldn't own them.
Oh, I still want to own it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, we wouldn't buy cars. We wouldn't be easily able to buy cars. It would be almost impossible to find one for purpose.
I know. It's painful. It's painful to watch. It really is. James is gonna be mad when this episode starts, when he sees this episode get published, because he was here, but he had studying to do, and Leo was late, and I called Commodore, and I said nobody was on, and then 15 minutes later we're doing a show with him offline. It's like, we didn't do it on purpose, James, we swear.